2 amazing pine needle remedies for lung congestion. Despite my many herb books and herb courses I have taken, there are very few resources on the wonderful and effective uses of pine trees and pine needles for lung congestion. In fact, learningherbs.com has been the only resource I have found. So let's go harvest some pine needles. Now, regardless of where you live, you probably have a pine tree living somewhere near you. And this is really a great herbal remedy that everyone should know about, especially in a prepper situation. Now today, I'm going to be harvesting some pine needles. Now pine needles is one of these great remedies if you make an infusion out of it. That is, if you take the needles, chop them up, and drink it as a tea, it's going to be a wonderful source of vitamin C. A hot infusion is pouring 1 cup of boiling water over a handful of chopped pine needles. Cover and let steep for 10 minutes. Now this makes a refreshing drink with a slight lemony taste depending on the time of year and your species of pine trees. It is an excellent source of vitamin C and is also a diuretic. Now a cold infusion retains more of the vitamin C. A cold infusion is soaking a chopped herb at room temperature or warm water. You cover it for at least 4 hours or even overnight. But if you take it a step further and make a decoction with it, that is, you're going to boil it and simmer it for 10 to 20 minutes, then it becomes a remedy for lung congestion. Decoction is taking a handful of chopped pine needles, about 10 grams, add to 2 cups of water, bring to a boil, cover, lower the heat, and simmer for 20 minutes for lung congestion. Strain and sweeten with honey, or no honey at all. It's up to you. Drink several cups throughout the day, inhaling the steam as you drink it. When pine needles are simmered for 20 minutes, it extracts the resinous properties of the pine needles to use as a stimulating expectorant. An expectorant thins the mucus so that it is easier to cough up. A stimulating expectorant also stimulates the body to expel the mucus. A pine needle simmered tea is especially good at removing stuck mucus. Even stronger, although you need to do this in advance, is to make a pine needle oxymel. A pine needle oxymel is made of apple cider vinegar and honey. Vinegar has an special affinity for the lungs, and its history for the respiratory system goes back to the ancient Greeks. Herbalists believe that the vinegar concentrates the herbal's medical properties to the respiratory system. Fill a jar with chopped pine needles up to the bottom ring. This needs to be loosely packed. And fill the jar to 1/3 of honey and stir. Fill to the bottom ring with apple cider vinegar. Now you need plenty of room to shake the jar so the herbs, vinegar, and honey will move around freely. Then you want to place a lid with plastic wrap or wax paper between the jar and the lid to prevent the vinegar corroding the metal lid. And even if you use a plastic lid, you will still need the plastic wrap or the wax paper because it will leak when you shake it. Otherwise, you can just stir it. You want to shake this twice a day for 4 to 6 weeks, strain it, and then take by the spoonful throughout the day for lung congestion. A tincture or salve made from the pine resin might work better, but is much harder to collect and ruins whatever you tincture it in. This also would have needed to be done in advance. Pine resin is not the same as sap. Sap circulates the nutrients and water throughout the tree. Pine resin is the sticky stuff the pine tree oozes when it is injured. It seals the wounds, acts as an antimicrobial against viruses, bacteria, and fungus, and also keeps out the bugs. Now, my husband did cut a pine tree so that I could easily collect the pine resin for a tincture. But we have plenty of pine trees, and this one was in stress to begin with and not likely to live a long life. Pine resin alcohol tinctures or oil will be in another video, not this one. And you might be an herbalist if you are enjoying a cup of pine needle tea. Like, subscribe, and share so you do not miss any tips on using God's amazing healing plant.